Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Evolve Energetics, and this a new project that I am embarking on, Small Town VIPs, the Vancouver Island practitioners.
I like it.
And today I am meeting with Michel, who started this journey as a massage therapist and is now embarked on osteopathy.
Yeah, manual osteopathy.
Oh, I guess we're going to
Mhm.
explore what that means in a moment. So this new project is an idea that I've been exploring on paper at least for a while, where I want to showcase the people I know and the people I will meet as we go along that have been practicing in natural medicine, various forms, and whom are have a positive impact on their community. And you know, as we evolve in this internet sphere that has become very normal, we see all these big names, and rarely do we get to meet the people that are part of our community. So this is um, Michael is the introduction to this project, actually. Yes. Um, so I'd like to start by exploring what drew you to your new career. Because you started, and maybe you can cover that, like you started in the service industry, like many of us,
Yep.
and you've now branched out into still being in service, but in a very different sphere.
Yeah. So I guess it's that part of being in service really was instilled very young because it gave me values. So it started off in hospitality and being in service or getting that, uh, I guess, that dopamine hit of the gratitude from other people because you were being in service. So it started in hospitality and cooking. Uh, and then it morphed into massage therapy. So really, I came into the field of health science to be in service, but doing it for the wrong reason, if that makes sense.
And I guess this is where it could be in exploring. So,
Yeah,
because my sense, based on the teachings I've been following, says that there's never a mistake,
right.
right? So, one could say that being in service, then you got drawn to it,
Yeah,
and maybe realizing that there's more to being in service, or that maybe your heart was beating uh, more closely to your truth when you change from the restaurants, say being in service in restaurants, to being in service as a massage therapist.
uh, yeah. I could see what you're saying, but it makes me think of um, the wounded healer in terms of
Mhm.
Carl Jung, who popularized that in terms of. So I guess what I'm saying is I entered the field or entered being of service for the wrong reason in terms of coming from that wounded place, trying to fulfill my void or yeah, my emptiness of my worth. So by being in service and that gratitude from them was kind of that filling the worth,
Mhm.
but it was not. It only hit the surface, or it wasn't the true worth I was looking for,
Right.
right? And so that's what I mean. I entered it for the wrong reason. So yeah,
So now, so am I to understand now that now you are in service for the right reason? Have you discovered? So I've just discovered what that means. I guess maybe even like sharing what
oh,
being a wounded healer,
yep,
right? Which is a concept
yeah,
that we hear quite often. What that means for you in your life, and how maybe it has guided your journey. Because you know, we all start. My sense is we all start from a place where we're not really following our true calling,
yeah,
or as you say, maybe following it for the wrong reason. Yeah.
Uh, the concept of the wounded healer was that, or there's papers out there, research out there that is showing that people who enter the field of health science really are doing it subconsciously to heal themselves,
Mm,
maybe not consciously. And but the concept is that as a wounded healer, as you heal yourself, then you have more empathy towards your clients, and so you can really connect to who you're treating, I guess. So I'm trying to think of the rest of the question.
well, and I maybe go off sometimes too long in explanations. Um, so as you discovered, I guess, as you began to heal yourself,
Hmm.
or discover the places where maybe you were holding yourself back from
Hmm.
your true calling,
Hmm.
you progress from restaurants into
Into
healing
healthcare.
therapies.
Yeah.
And then as you healed yourself, your journey carried on. So what was your progression? Like, you began as a not registered massage therapist.
Yes.
What drew you to osteopathy then? At what point did you realize, oh, maybe there's more to what I want to do and offer?
Yeah. When I entered massage therapy, it was still more or less in its infancy in its field and its popularity and scope of practice. And it's really blossomed since then as it becomes more valid in the Western model. But in the beginning, it was still kind of attached to massage parlors and right. And so at that time, it was still again that superficial uh, reward for it, or superficial in its practice of how much I could really explore, I guess, in terms of, or I guess just wasn't enough knowledge in terms of just other than the musculature,
Mm,
right? And so homeopathy, when I discovered homeopathy, it spoke to me more because it was the approach for the philosophy of osteopathy is approaching the whole person. So we really delve into more than just the physiological fascial field. We look at the energetic portion or even the emotional components of the person
mm,
because it's all one. We cannot separate them. Or if you try and separate them, then you just end up creating this numbness for that
mm.
person. Even for myself, actually, really, it's that journey for myself in which of being a service still sounds kind of selfish,
Mm.
right? Because I'm still looking at who I am in relationship to the person that's in the room with me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly the way I experience when I do my sessions. I've been really clear now. So, um, at least when I learned Chinese medicine and acupuncture, the idea still was that the person in my seat was the expert, is the expert,
Yes.
and the person in the client's seat is the sufferer who knows little or does not understand or s- seeks help anyway. And it became clear to me rather quickly that even though I get an idea when a person comes in with migraines or a big headache, I kind of know what they mean. And yet their experience of headache is very intimate to their life experience.
Hmm.
So for me to pretend that I can be an expert about how they experience a headache um, is maybe a little bit arrogant,
Yeah.
right? So my sense as I progress through the years that in that room, we work as a team.
Yeah.
And it's my ability to relate to them as a person as opposed to the headache in that person
Yeah.
that actually shifts the whole healing environment.
Yeah.
Does, so does that speak maybe to what you're discovering as you
Oh,
continue on to the osteopathy journey?
yeah, completely. Because the manual osteopath, just like any other modality, has its variety of people how they're going to approach and practice. So initially, and I guess massage as well. it was at that functional stage of whatever knowledge I had from the textbooks, I'm going to apply to you
Mhm.
to try and help you or resolve the issue. But manual osteopathy also now has what's the second one? But what I'm thinking of is more the biodynamic approach, which is appreciating again, the spirit of who the person is and their relationship within their body, emotional or physical
Mm.
or mental, and just trying to honor that where they're at,
Mm.
as opposed to me thinking, oh, I have the knowledge, I can help you. It's more just about I'm here to be with you and how to be present so that the body can reestablish its own healing cascade again.
Right.
So that's where the osteopath, or keep saying manual osteopath because that's the title they want to use now, as opposed to an
So would you explore that for a moment and
sure.
maybe why the distinction and maybe share with the public that's seeing what is osteopathy in your experience?
Well, we just use the term manual osteopath because osteopathy started in the US and started with that philosophy of manual work. But as I can't remember the exact history, but they shifted from being the manual osteopaths to being more like doctors. And so they don't like us stepping on their toes. So it's political
Right.
in that sense. And so we really have to make that distinction that we're doing manual work as opposed to, yeah, as opposed to scripts for medications or even surgery or, right? And so that's the difference between the two. Yeah. So not just to take away from osteopaths, doctors in the US, but yeah, so we just have to make that distinction.
That's something I just read about recently, actually, that they actually even practice in hospitals down there. That
Yeah.
it's a there's medicine as we know it as one stream, and then there's the osteopathy training as another stream.
Yeah.
I was a bit surprised at that. I didn't know that it existed.
Yeah.
So, so how would you describe what osteopathy is then? Maybe like manual osteopathy, since we are, you know, focusing on the distinction today.
Mhm. Yeah, it's always the question people ask, and it's always the hard one to try and convey what it is exactly. Uh, And maybe I start with the definition of palpation because it's manual. Yes, it is palpation, but it's more than just human contact. It's about, for me, it's the philosophy and presence of palpating all that is happening. So,
Okay, well, I'll put you on the spot then.
okay,
So I'm coming in and I've
yeah,
got an issue with my elbow,
sure,
and the doctor tells me it's a tennis elbow,
yep.
right? So how would you approach me with that? And and that show me like what palpation means.
Yeah, so for me, that definition of palpation is much more general. So it would start as soon as I see you in the clinic space or in the waiting room. What am I palpating? What am I feeling?
Mm.
So not just that physical palpation, but the palpation of all my senses,
Right.
right? What's your how are you looking? Are you looking fatigued or like are you really high energy? What's how? So I've got to
Okay,
figure
go
out
on. Like
right away how do I approach you?
I'm in your waiting room now, and you don't even know I'm there with say the tennis elbow yet, or maybe you do.
Yeah.
So what do you see?
So are you really asking me from start to
Yeah,
finish?
yeah, like I'm in waiting room right now, and you coming in to call me over, maybe. It's okay, Michelle, I'm ready for you, or however you do it, right? And
Yeah.
then,
So initially, then I would make sure that I am myself centered.
right,
So I'm not having this worry about, okay, I have a new client. Maybe he's referred from a really good friend, right? So I'm trying to let go of any expectations that I have on myself so that when I see you, I can just be open.
right.
And so, yes, the initial greet. And again, it's how are you feeling with that? Are you trepidatious? Maybe you're not really happy to be here,
Well,
right?
you see,
So,
and this that I was, yeah, and I guess it's a bit fake right now, but I
yeah,
was gonna say, like, go ahead, like, put me on the spot now, put me on the spot.
yeah.
And like and if anything comes, like share it, be candid. It's okay, Michelle, like you're coming in right now and I'm noticing I'm this or that, right?
Right, and so it's still learning how to navigate that
Right,
because maybe they are not ready to hear that their system of operation is not serving them,
right,
right? And so really is trying to get down. So if it is coming from a doctor's referral of tennis elbow,
right.
right? Getting their history. Are you really, what's your work? Are you a carpenter, right? Where you're always using that. In which case we still look at you physically,
Mm.
but then what other components or factors might play into that, right? Maybe you're a poor sleeper, your digestion is off,
Mm.
or yeah, you also play baseball, like trying to narrow it down
So
more
in
than
that
just that.
sense, you would be you're doing more the mm, I'm gonna be careful how I express this, but you're opening more in a general understanding of what health is, which is what you said earlier on. It's like it's not just muscles, it's like
Yeah,
the other factors in
yeah,
my lifestyle that are bound to contribute to what's going on,
yeah,
right? It's not just maybe, as you say, the repetitive work, but if I'm showing up, I'm stressed, I didn't sleep well, I'm jacked up on coffee,
yeah,
or I was out the night before,
yeah,
and I do that often, and it's like, yeah, yeah, it's repetitive, and there's also all these other things going on in your life,
yeah. So it is the exploration of all the factors of what's may contribute to that tennis elbow in the first place.
right? Right. So go ahead.
Well, I was just trying to think of how if it was biodynamically trying to approach it. Yes, so it is hard to create that situation because you can't
Mm.
tell, but it would still the approach would still be how can I observe that the person that is there, the spark that you are in relation to your elbow still. If that makes sense.
Well, and I suppose that's the part that becomes the art, right? Because
Yes.
trying to explain that to anybody, um, in my experience, so I can uh, relate to what you're saying, because the art of palpating is not just what's happening in the fingers. It's in my experience, there's an emotional response that happens within me. There's a feeling that happens within me that is also part of the information that I gather. And if I'm unsure, then I check with my client and say, hey, I'm noticing that when I touch your elbow, um, I'm feeling this discomfort in my stomach. Like, what's going on for you,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And then so that opens an exchange. Also, then that it opens a window that is uncommon.
Yeah.
It's very uncommon.
In Western health practices, right?
And even I would say that it's not necessarily that common in natural health therapies.
Mm.
It's easy enough to just fall into, oh, you got a tennis elbow, I've got the protocol for this.
Hmm.
Certainly for us, there was protocol for the knee acupuncture.
Hmm.
And like you said, depending on the client, sometimes it's like, well, they just want their knee fixed. So
Hmm.
there's two, four, six needles, boom, right?
Hmm.
And maybe a few distant points. It's like, okay, you got your knee acupuncture, we're good to go,
Hmm.
right? And then move on to the next thing. Um, so this is great because what you're practicing is very much in line with the way I perceive healing.
Hmm.
That it's a multifactorial, and that it requires um, your dedicated awareness and presence. It's not just a technique, not just
Yeah.
a protocol
Yeah.
that you open the book to page 252. Oh, there it is. I can just follow the recipe.
Yeah.
So one of the curiosities, so part of what we're going to do today is we're going to also demonstrate some of the Qigong exercises so that's part of the focus I want to bring in this as I visit with these other people on the island that are health practitioners, is to offer Qigong exercises that could either benefit them personally or benefit their clients. So the question I want to ask here now, so is that, so as a health practitioner, you're also a human being with
Mm,
other stresses and demands in your life. Yeah. So there's the professional you that your clients will see, and maybe the clients you see more often will start noticing other things, just like you do when you open the door to the waiting room,
yeah.
right? So would you feel comfortable sharing, uh, some of the common challenges that you have in your life as you continue being a practitioner, like how where it's demanding in your life
Hmm.
to show up in service?
Hmm. Yeah, it makes me think. Uh, as part of the manual osteopath program, we had to do a paper, either a thesis or a case study. So I did a case study on myself, again in line with the wounded healer, because there was um, a meditation teacher that I met in massage when I was massage therapist, and she opened me up to the idea of the wounded healer because she said you chose this field to heal yourself, and that didn't make any sense. But as I progressed and realized how important that we are the crux of it, we are the center of it, I realized that yes, we are the person in the practitioner. And so the biggest challenge for me is constantly being open to having compassion for myself, I guess.
Hmm.
So instead of always worried about what you're thinking of me as the patient or with my colleagues, right? It's trying to be the biggest challenge is still having my own self-awareness and not to get caught up in my ego or my wounds, to yeah, to be present.
So in which way would you know then that you're falling out of balance in that way? Like what would be a signal that would alert you to, oh, I need to refocus a little bit here,
Yeah,
find balance again?
yeah.
Yeah. So how would you experience that out of balance
In the clinic or
in you personally? So when you realize, oh, I'm not taking time to be empathic with myself or to be compassionate with myself or to I'm focusing too much on my clients. What would be a way that you can recognize?
no, it's my own discomfort and catching myself in the thought patterns that aren't serving me. That I know that I'm on the hamster's on the wheel, right? So it's like, okay, and then you have to, it's just that self-awareness again. And it's like, to me, it's like being a muscle. You have to start working it and then you start catching it sooner and yeah, putting into practice what I need to do, whether it is some Qigong exercises or just taking some breaths to refocus. If I'm with a client, it's different.
Mm.
It's trying to force things to happen, like trying to, or the body's not, I'm not communicating with the body. It's not giving me information that is conducive to, okay, this is a path. It's more like, okay, I've been here holding this, what I think is holding the space for a while, but it's not, it's giving me, it's forcing, it's giving me a force back. It's not, I don't want to say flowing, but maybe it is flowing. It's not congruent in the communication because it's always a communication through
Right.
the body, their body, and what I'm feeling. And so if it's forced, then I'm not in myself because I'm trying to make things happen because I'm being in that wounded place of fixing as opposed to allowing.
So now it sounds like you're on an agenda or something, or
Exactly.
right? Oh, I've got another client, and I'm tired, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Um,
It can be many things.
right,
What I think they're thinking of me,
right.
right? So yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll explore. I mean, how we would do that in Qigong, how to recreate that space of being first grounded because you're out of your ground at that point,
Hmm.
right? And and that happens. I mean, we get busy, phone is ringing, you just got a call and the kid needs to be picked up at school,
Mm,
or something that throws you off,
yeah.
and all of a sudden it's like, well, I've got two more clients, and it's not an emergency, but right.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Since part of the goal today as well is to share an exercise that might be helpful for your clients.
Mm,
So is there, say, um, so it could be either like a common complaint that they bring in, or amongst all the complaints that you see, a common dysregulation that your clients bring in, something that is maybe because we all live in the same environment. So an easy example of this would be is that they're all exposed to polluted air, right? In which case, the fix is probably removing ourselves from the polluted air, or uh, stopping the industry that's causing it.
mm.
So there's often, maybe not, if not invisible, like an underlying cause that you may be exposed to more often than not in your client base. Is that something that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how to answer that question. And I mean, I think there is a common thing happening, but not in their consciousness.
That's right. But so as you observe them, right, what
Yeah.
do you notice that would be, say, a commonality that maybe you could share with them as like a default? Here, why don't you try this exercise, to
I see.
introduce to Qigong maybe, or um, in that sense.
Well, that's a good question for you then. The commonality that I find these days is because the state of the world, where it is now, and the divisiveness of it, and everyone is just so angry, I guess, or there's get stirred up. The emotions are really stirred up that it's really dysregulating in that
Mm.
sense. But so many times I feel that the person, the spirit or the consciousness is not whole. Part of it is outside themselves to try and create some sort of safety zone or control or something like that. But that's not something that I can approach with each client because they'd be like, there's not a chance that
And I would say it's
part of
not
it's like,
necessary, because really, as you say, they either are not aware or not ready
yeah,
to go there. So the exercise could be, hey, I've got I've been practicing Qigong, or I've been curious about Qigong, and it's this exercise that is really good, maybe as an introduction point, or I'd be curious. So another way to maybe approach this, I'd be curious to see what would change in your life if you did this, right? Would you be open to trying that, like a couple of times, 3 times a week? And between now and our next visit, let's see what you experience from this, right?
hmm
So you're right. They don't need to know what your treatment plan is necessarily.
mm
Right? It's like, let's just see what shifts,
mm
because that might be enough to open their mind, or to relax enough of that tension, that now there's an openness for exploring how stress in that state of the world is affecting them.
hmm
Because that's definitely something that we can change,
hmm
right? Because that's a response to something that is not intrinsically stressful. So not like bombs falling. This is me paying attention to,
yeah,
in this case, is not even in my country so much. It's mostly happening elsewhere,
yeah,
right?
yeah, the collective.
Right.
Yeah.
And the first one I'm going to share with you is something that you can do in your clinic when you find yourself all of a sudden, it's like you just got disturbance taken off your center.
hmm
And I mean, there are other internal ways to do it, but since we're sharing this to an outside public, we're going to do the more physical aspect, right? So it's called bringing down the heavens. And bring down the heavens, the movement. So your feet are about shoulder width apart on this, and you let your body relax into that posture. So be aware of where your weight is, which is something. really important for us. So kind of bring your weight in the center of your feet and imagine what that is. So the movement of the arms is very simple. As you breathe in, the arms come up all the way to the top here, and on the out breath, they come down. On the way up, the first half, the palms are facing down. Second half at shoulder height, the palms are facing up. Well, the reason for the palms, on the first half, we're breathing in earth energy. On the second half, heaven's energy. So this combined energy of earth and heaven then we use to help disperse the nervousness from the front of the body. So as you bring your arms down, you're kind of sweeping the front and letting this destabilizing effect of maybe, a phone call or an event, or maybe there was a car accident outside, and something that really threw you off your center, and all your mind is busy somewhere else, and you got clients to.
Mm-hmm.
So recognizing that first, and I would even suggest actually like noticing, okay, or like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit distressed here. So maybe even just like just like you do for your clients for that matter, right? It's like, oh yeah, okay, I feel that. Acknowledge it. I'm also human.
Mm-hmm.
And then breathing in, earth, heaven, and then sweep the front, catching the nervousness, the event, the part of the event that is lodged in the front. And then we do that, sweeping the back now, feeling maybe the ripples in your feel in your body. And the third pass, now entering this energy through your crown, through your brain, through your chest and heart, digestive tract, urogenital, down the legs all the way. Now, of course, if you're in a waiting room doing these big movements, will raise some curiosity. So you could do that. That's part of your goal. And also, so when I feel this myself, then now that we've done the physical movement, you could even just stand there for a moment or close the door and just imagine how many, if you don't, so I guess where I'm going with this is that if you're in a public space and you don't want to move the hands, you just stand there for a moment and imagine the sun, or how the warmth of the sun would do the same thing in the front, in the back, and in the center.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. And it's simple. Now, the beauty of this too, and we'll do it once more. So as you breathe in the earth and heaven, so where am I going with this? So there's various ways that I imagine that this could be done. The way I like most to do this, imagine I'm in a natural setting that's very nourishing for me.
Mm.
And as I breathe in the earth and that environment and the heavens.
Mm.
And then I shower myself with this. Right, so let's do that. So if you have a place that you like to go to, right? So as you hold that image in your head, breathe in, connect with the earth and the environment, heaven of that environment. And then imagine being surrounded with it. Imagine it surrounding you all the way down to the ground. And as you reach the bottom here, let it sink below you. And feel your connection to the earth in this moment. So let's explore now how Qigong could be used as a simple exercise. And in this one, there's probably simpler ways to do this exercise, but this really involves a whole body movement, and it's one of the reasons I like it. So worry. So when people are letting themselves be distracted, by external events and go into worry and go into fear or try to predict. So the tendency, because of our upbringing, is to be in our head, overthink,
Yep.
try to predict, try to control things. It's all up here. And so when our mental capacities are burdened like this, it affects our sleep, it affects our health, because we're constantly trying to solve things. It's all in the head. And that belongs to what we call the spleen pancreas. And the exercise to help regulate this is what I'm going to demonstrate now. So if you want to bring your hands together, and with the hands, we're going to form a triangle like this. And the triangle is, so you bring your hands high enough that maybe you can imagine that the sun up there, so maybe not a summer sun, maybe a winter sun, so not too high, but enough that you imagine the energy of the heavens shining through that triangle right into your third eye, right? So the movement, so we're going to breathe in into the center here. And on the breath out, we're going to turn the body to one side. And this is the one place where we actually wring the spine as if it's a wet towel. And then as you breathe in, you come back to center. And then breathe out on the other side. So keeping your gaze through that, breathe in, through that triangle, looking towards the sky, towards the heavens. We'll just stop here briefly. I want to bring attention to something that's really important with this exercise. So if I'm not paying attention closely to what my body is doing, as I turn here, the twist can involve the knees as well. I'll get a bit closer to see if I can emphasize that. So if my knees start twisting, it's not good it's not a good movement to do for me. So as I turn my upper body, so maybe we can sit a little bit in that posture, and I'm turning essentially from here. So the movement starts at the hips and it goes up the spine gradually. So there should be very little change in the knees when you do this. So again, I can demonstrate what's incorrect. So you see how my knees, the kneecaps are going from one side to the other. So that's an exaggeration and it's incorrect. So what we want to do here is turn with very little movement in the knees. Okay. So with that embellishment or extra details on the exercise, let's see if we can feel that again. So bringing our hands up, breathing in here, and then breathing out, starting at the hips, and then going up each vertebrae all the way to as far as you can go. Imagine wringing any dampness, and then breathing in, coming back to center, wringing dampness out of your spine.
Do we only go as far as our shoulders go? Because I could turn my head farther than my shoulders.
So that's a good question, Michael. Um, so we don't involve the cervical vertebrae. Don't turn the head. You're looking constantly through that triangle. The shoulders do turn a bit more. So if you're able to do that, then you follow with your gaze. So we'll do that one more time each side. And then coming back to the center. And then letting your arms rest. Nice to see you all here. There'll be more of these postings in the weeks and months to come. And if you like this, I'd love to hear from you as well. My name is Michel Duhaime. I'm a registered acupuncturist here in the valley, in Comox Valley, and Michael Kono, who is an osteopath. Thank you very much.
Thanks.